r/NoSleep. Posted by you/thegirlwithonesock. The Watchers. I was born and raised in the same town as my parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and as many generations before that as we could remember. It was a tiny freckle on the vast landscape of our state, so far removed from any other signs of civilization that for a while I believed we might be the only town on Earth. Realia was nothing special, but it had everything we needed: a hospital, grocery store, schools, farms, and perhaps most importantly, a pharmacy. See, there were a few peculiarities about the town. One of which was the water. Something about it made people sick, or so we were told. I've recently begun to question everything about that town. The story goes that one of the founders of the town had recognized the signs of illness in people and developed a pill to combat the side effects. It was a daily ritual for everyone from children to the elderly to get up in the morning, take their medicine, and go about their day. There was even a radio program for children that played at the same time every morning to remind them. A happy, young woman's voice would follow the sound of 3 delicate chimes. She would sing, "It's time to take your medicine, medicine, medicine," in the kind of cheery and cartoonish voice that kids gravitate to. My mother died in childbirth, so when I was little I would sometimes pretend that the voice was actually her waking me up for the day. It always motivated me to take my pill in the morning, and at recess sometimes the younger students would sing the jingle to each other. The second peculiar thing about Realia was that no one moved away. Nobody ever left. If you were born in Realia, you died in Realia, and your kids would follow the same path. I don't remember anyone ever moving into town either, but it did happen on very rare occasions. Newcomers also never left and kept their family lineage firmly planted in our humid, summery town. The third, and what I've come to realize most important, peculiarity was the Watchers. For anyone who lived there, the Watchers were just a part of life. They didn't hurt anyone, interact with anyone, or really do much of anything except watch. They would stand in fields and watch the farmers harvest grain, stand outside of houses and watch families read books in their living rooms, or stand at the school fence watching children play. It may sound unnerving to someone who's never met them before, but they were always there and felt as natural as the birds in the sky. As children we all learned the basic rules surrounding the Watchers, and as long as we followed them, we were assured that life would remain perfectly normal. The rules hadn't changed since the foundation of the town and were written on old piece of paper displayed in a glass case in the town hall. Every family had a copy of them, whether it was handwritten, a photograph of the original document, or some variant of that hanging up in their homes. The rules went as follows. 1. Never make eye contact with a Watcher. You may observe them from your peripheral vision, but do not ever look directly into their eyes. 2. Never talk to a Watcher. Do not make conversation, ask them how they are, or say anything. Certainly never invite them into your home or place of business. 3. If you notice someone beginning to interact with a Watcher, do not intervene. Leave immediately and cover your ears. Find the nearest building or room, lock the door, and contact the police. If there is no way to contact the police, sit and look at your watch for 6 minutes. After the 6 minutes have passed, you may leave the area safely. Do not look at the area the Watcher was in and go directly to the police station. These rules were drilled into our heads so much that everyone in town could recite them from memory. It almost seemed useless to have them hung up in our classrooms and living rooms, but my father once told me that he had seen someone forget a rule. A classmate of his who, for some unimaginable reason, attempted to give a flower to a Watcher one day at recess. The other students of course followed rule number 3 and went inside the school. What happened next is not known to my father, but the following week they held a funeral for the girl and moved on as though it was natural for a young child to just drop dead. They all had to take memorization tests for the rules and no one tried to interact with a Watcher again. Father said that something like that seemed to occur once every generation, but a rule break never happens twice. The Watchers, from what I could see from my peripheral vision, looked just like any other person with only a few differences. They never blink. Once I was feeling bold, and stupid, and snuck a glance at a Watcher's face when I knew she was looking into the neighbor's yard. That's when I noticed that their mouths look like they've been stitched up and their skin is discolored. It is also very rare to see one of them move. They seem to be ready wherever they need to watch right as the sun rises, and gone after you've busied yourself with some other task. They have some variety to them, women, men, and even ones that look like children. The Watcher that seemed to spend the most time around my home was a woman with long brown hair and a checkered skirt. The same skirt every day. I think. I never could get a really close look, but it seemed like none of them ever changed their clothes. They were just constantly in different parts of the town, standing rigidly and never blinking. Realia also did not have internet, or computers at all, For most of my childhood and adolescence, we had cell phones for emergencies, but they could only make calls. About a year ago we got our first computers, but they were limited to certain households. Since my dad held a relatively important position in town, we got one for our home, but I wasn't allowed to use it. It was restricted for official town business only, and initially it wasn't used very much. Slowly but surely I noticed my dad spending more and more time on the computer, and sometimes I would go to bed at night only to wake up in the morning with him still frantically typing and scribbling notes. I started driving myself to school even though he had always insisted on doing it. To be honest, it was lonely. About a week ago, everything changed. At exactly 2:16 a.m. I had the alarm clock in my dad's room go off. Loudly. Incessantly. After a couple of minutes I got up to see why he wasn't turning it off, but he wasn't there. Instead there was a note on the blanket, and the bedside lamp was turned on. I can tell you what the note said, but I've spent the last 7 days driving and trying to make sense of it. Nina. The car keys are in a box under the bed. Put on clothes and pack important things. There is a map with the keys. It will take you out of Realia and into a real town. Drive. Do not stop, do not talk to anyone at all. Drive away. When you get to stop on map, use money in box to book a hotel room. Ask clerk for Wi-Fi, it is internet you can use, and put info onto phone in box. Mom did not die giving birth. Trust me please and get as far away as you can. Do not take medicine. Do not bring medicine. Drive away. I love you my girl. Pa. Some people may have read that and assumed their dad had a mental breakdown. Some might just search for him. But I didn't. I checked for the box under the bed, found all the items he mentioned along with hundreds of pages of notes, got dressed, and did exactly what he told me to do, drive. I had jokingly called him Pa one day, and we decided it would be our secret codename. I know it sounds stupid, but hey, I was 8. I said if I ever needed help or I was in trouble, I'd call him Pa to let him know it was serious. It was our danger word. We had never used it before. I drove, following the map my dad had drawn out. It was surprisingly detailed. For hours I saw absolutely nothing, but eventually I started seeing signs for other towns. Towns that looked different. People were out at night. Not watchers, real people. When I got to the hotel, the clerk told me how to set up Wi-Fi on the phone. They even have computers for people to use here, so I've been learning how to Google search, find social media, and other stuff. What scares me is that no matter what I type into the search bar, there's never a result for Realia. It's like it doesn't exist at all. No results come up when I look for the medicine broadcast either. Even the name of the medicine doesn't show anything. It's like my entire town and everything in it is some sort of secret. Some of Dad's notes seem to point to us being isolated and unknown, but I haven't had the time or energy to look through everything in the box. I just keep seeing the word experiment written over and over again. Like I said, it's been a week now. I listened to my dad and didn't bring the medicine. I was really sick the first couple of days, but once that was over with I noticed the most terrifying thing of all, I hadn't seen a single watcher since I left Realia. So now I have to ask for your help. Have you heard of Realia? Do you know what medicine cytofloxacin is? Do you see the watchers too?